Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Forbidden Radio, Season 2, Episode 7. We are joined today by author Arlo Graves. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Anytime.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for reaching out. So we're here to talk about you today, your books. I see on your website that you have 3 books out,
Uh,
if
I
I'm not
have
mistaken.
I have a novella which is currently out. I have a novel coming out in May, and then the third one on the site, it's part of a anthology collection.
Oh,
So not
gotcha. Oh, yes, I see the release date right here.
yeah, I'm just getting started, but the fantasy book there on the website, it's going to be a trilogy. So this time next year I will have multiple books, hopefully.
Oh, wow. Black Rose, it's called? That's the one that's out?
Yes, Black Rose is the one that's out, and the fantasy series is The Ice Moves for No One, and it is starting in May.
Wow, I love these covers, by the way.
Thank you. I very much didn't do them. People who knew what they were doing made them for me, and I'm very
Yeah.
grateful.
Well, I'm reading the summaries too, and they sound really cool. Old
Thank
West
you.
with machines that come to life. That sounds awesome.
It was so fun to write.
So is this one is like a western with a little bit of fantasy or something?
Yeah, it's kind of a lot fantasy. It's
Okay.
Weird West and sort of tilting horror. To me, it was dark
Oh, okay.
fantasy, but it very much got picked up by a horror press. And it's in a world where the more you use a machine, the more soul it acquires until it becomes autonomous and sentient, and basically has a mind of its own, and like what that world looks like. And there's a part of me that kind of wishes that my debut had been a little bit more uplifting. This one is kind of like America is a horror story, but that's fine.
Hey, I mean, you're not too wrong, you know. But you do seem to lean more towards horror, right?
I
That's
do
what I'm
really like
noticing.
horror, yeah, or like dark fantasy. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why. Just that's kind of where I'm leaning at this point in my life.
Wow. I think you're like the third horror author we have on here.
Oh my
Or I
goodness.
guess you're not straight horror, but like scary on the scarier side. I feel like.
It's a good genre.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really good way to work through and address difficult topics.
Mhm.
You can kind of create like a separation between yourself, the reader, and like a concept or a topic, and like really draw them in and talk about some weird and disturbing things. I don't know. I think horror and dark fantasy are really great for that.
Oh yeah, definitely on the dark fantasy. That's what I more lean towards. Um, Anyone who's seen the previous episodes knows that I'm not really much of a horror person, but the dark fantasy is what I like.
Yeah.
The thing that I like about horror is that it can be used for like metaphors. Like for example, zombies. Especially recently, it's used for like the outside, the others. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Stuff like that. That's what I enjoy. You know. So.
Yeah. I think that was what I was trying to say, and I just couldn't put the words together. Like it's
No, I
such a
got
good
what you
way to
meant.
create, like such a good way to create allegory.
Exactly. But you know, if all you want is just like body horror and zombies and monsters and any other kind of horror, you can get that too. But like vampires too can
Oh
be
yeah.
used for like sexual stuff, you know, like sexuality, spirituality. Yeah.
Oh for
So
sure. Yeah.
Nosferatu was heavy into that recently that I watched.
Oh my goodness, I haven't seen it yet. I feel like I'm missing out.
I haven't seen it either.
You guys gotta watch it. It's really, really good.
I'm currently watching Dune. I finished the first one, but I haven't started the second one yet.
Have not quite finished the first one. I don't know. I ended up like not watching a lot of movies or TV. I'm really boring in that way.
Oh no, I'm the same way. It's kind of a running joke where they'll be talking about movies and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, Angel, we know you haven't seen any of this."
Yeah. Okay, I'm not alone.
Yeah, no. They tell me I live under a rock. I'm like out of the loop with everything.
Oh my god, I'm obsessed with a show on Netflix called Dark. It's German language, and you can watch it dubbed or subbed, and it is. I loved it. Chef's kiss. But I'm always telling people about it, and they're like, "What is that? We've never heard of that." And I'm like, "It's been on Netflix for ages. You've got to watch it." And they're like, "What?"
I've actually heard of that one, and I tried watching it, but I didn't like the dub, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna enjoy this, so I just turned it off and never came back to it.
Yeah, I have a cheat code. I speak German, so it was like, well,
Oh, okay.
I'm into it. It was really good. But yeah, I haven't tried the dub. I think my dad watched it dub. We just watched it subbed so my partner could read along. But it was
Awesome.
good, kind of like sci-fi suspense. I guess it's a little bit of horror, but I'd call it like a sci-fi suspense. It had
Yeah,
a vision, and I feel like it stuck the landing.
yeah, that's what I've heard, is that the writing is really good.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
the poster and it's giving me like uber dark Stranger Things vibes.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't have the fun nostalgia of Stranger
Mhm.
Things, but it's kind of a similar vibe.
I'm seeing like this kid on the cover with a yellow jacket, and he's looking at
Yeah,
he or she is looking at like this cave,
yeah,
and it's giving me dark fantasy, sci-fi, horror vibes.
yeah. It was
Ironically.
really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
The raincoat just makes me think of it,
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
So
which I've only ever seen the first, the new one, but like the first one, not the second one.
Yeah, same.
I watched both. I thought they were pretty good, but I know why people. I can kind of understand why people didn't like the second one all too much. But I'd recommend it just to get the complete story, you know. So.
All right.
So talk to us about your books, the things you're working on, this anthology series that you're working on too. Talk to us about that.
All right. So my first one is
away.
Black Rose. She just came out on the 7th. She's the weird Western horror. It's about a cursed revolver and all of the weird things that spiral around that. I used a lot of real history and then just went unhinged, I guess. We can use unhinged. The silver comes out of the ground. The machines come to life. The guns talk. It's very much like a sword and sorcery, but with guns. So instead of the talking sword, you got the talking gun. Oh my god, it was something I never thought I was going to write back when I was 17. That's about the time that the movie Van Helsing came out with Hugh Jackman, and I don't know what happened to me, but I became obsessed. And I was also obsessed with Tombstone with Kurt Russell and the gentleman whose name escapes me. I'm your Huckleberry. I can't think of his name. It's not Holiday, but
yeah, I know who.
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer.
For some reason, 17-year-old me was obsessed with this, and I wanted to smash them together.
Mm-hmm.
But then every time I try writing fan fiction, it just gets completely out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
But I wrote like 20 pages of this story called Black Rose, and for some strange, unhinged reason, my dad loved it, and he's been asking me for 20 years. So every time I hit some kind of a writing milestone, he would ask, "When are you going to write Black Rose? When are you going to write Black Rose?" And a bunch of stuff happened, and the absolute nutshell version of it is my parents fought a wildfire in our neighborhood in 2020, and after that I was like, I really want to do something for them, especially dad. And I was like, okay, fine, I'm just going to write Black Rose for him. And so my mom and I kept it a secret. I visited all the locations in the book. I went to a live pitch, and that was so nerve-wracking, but they ended up buying it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just came out, and we revealed the cover to him on Christmas Eve. He had no idea that it existed, and that was probably the proudest moment of my life so far. That was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
awesome.
Black Rose. It's available everywhere, and hopefully soon I'll be doing some kind of a signing at a bookstore or several. Looking forward to that, but no, nothing written in stone yet, but keep your eyes peeled.
I'm digging
We'll
the
see.
cover. The cover of Black Rose is it's pretty.
Thank you.
That's
It was
awesome.
painted by an artist. Oh my god, I'm not looking at her name. I believe it's Kendra Hope, and she's did such a good job. she does like Weird West and character portraits, and she painted. I actually have that revolver. It's sitting on my bookshelf, and so she painted it from a real photo, and I thought that was really cool.
That's awesome. Man, that
Yeah.
was a very heartwarming story about your dad.
Thank you. Yeah, it was just it was a whole thing. There was a fire that came through our area, and I'm just haunted by this mental image of my dad. He drug a fully charged fire hose up the hill from where my parents live to the cabin that I live in with my partner. And this thing was full of water, so it was hundreds of pounds. And they drug it up this hill and rained water over our scary little cabin in the woods while Cal Fire did a back burn. And it's just burned into my head. My dad was 70 at the time. And I was like, I'm gonna write him that book. I'm gonna write him that book. It's gonna be a weird book, but it's Van Helsing meets Tombstone. But I think being able to see that through it's been really rewarding. It's been really cool.
Your dad sounds like an OG. Goddamn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
the
yeah, he and
vibe
mom. They were.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, but no, my mom was there too. I don't know if she was like with the fire hose or not, but she was like carrying around a bucket, throwing water on these like embers and it was just like a whole thing. My partner and I didn't get back in. It was a mess. We're all pretty traumatized, but there was literally a fire like right here.
That's terrifying. Well, I'm glad you guys are okay.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
I was gonna say the vibe I'm getting from Black Rose is Dark Tower, and I like that.
Yeah, so a lot of people have definitely compared it, and I'm like, okay, I really need to go read Dark Tower because I haven't read it, and so I don't actually know what it is. I have like that vague mental image of the man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed. That's like what I know, and I haven't read it yet. So
it's good. It just, you could tell Stephen King, like, he kind of went schizo with it. What I mean is that like everything, basically the whole idea is that this dimension, every single thing from imagination is in this dimension, in this old west, this like wild west dark dimension. Like the snitch shows up, like he name drops the snitch, like it's like flying around, like all kinds of stuff that, yeah. And like a lot of the monsters in everything that Stephen King has ever written is actually from this same like dimension. So it's almost like it connects all the stuff he's ever written together.
And, that's cool.
Yeah, with like a Wild West setting. So like Pennywise, for example, is from this dimension. You know.
Oh, weird. Okay,
well,
okay.
Now I'm imagining Pennywise in cowboy boots and a hat.
Yeah. Oh, you gave me that image. I can see him in the hat.
It's pretty sick. The latter half of the series, because it's a pretty long series, it kind of gets crazy because you can tell he's gotten older and he stopped doing coke. So it's good, but it's just, you gotta be ready for it to be a little unhinged.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that Black Rose is unhinged in that exact way, but it's very unhinged. My first editor, because I worked with a really cool editor before pitching it, he sent me an email and he's like, all right, this got on the crazy train on page 1 and it wrote it all the way to the station. And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna stick to that vibe. I'm committing to that vibe.
It's a good vibe.
Yeah, I think if you can commit and stick the landing, like you said earlier, it works, you know?
Yeah, I hope I stuck the landing. I think so far people have been enjoying it. That's pretty cool.
Well, now I need to pick up a copy.
Yeah, I'm definitely pick it up on my next check.
Well, thank you. It's I'm very proud of it. It's an oddball, and it's very short. It's a novella, so she's pretty quick.
Tell me about the Ice Moves for No One. Tell us.
All right. Well, I am blessed to be sitting here holding an advanced reader copy, so I can actually like manhandle this one. This is definitely a me passion project. I think around 2021, I read sort of an action adventure fantasy, and it just kind of like, I don't know, it got under my skin, and I was like, I really want to write an action adventure style fantasy story. But I'd really like to see a protagonist with the same chronic illness or a similar chronic illness to what I have. So I have something called mixed connective tissue disease, and instead of going into a million symptoms, it's basically like a cousin of lupus. I'm very sensitive to sun. There's a lot of chronic pain. And it can like have like the symptoms can come on really quickly. It's very weird.
Mhm.
But I really wanted to see like what would a chronic illness look like in a fantasy world. I don't want it to be cured in the fantasy world. Like you can't take it away with magic, but what could that look like with a fantasy character? And so I ended up with this young woman who's a Selkie, which for if anyone listening doesn't know what a Selkie is, it's a creature who transforms from a human into a seal or a sea lion otter type being by putting on or taking off the animal skin. And I leaned more heavily into like Scandinavian Selkies from the Faroe Islands, and invested some brain cells in how would transformation work or not work with this chronic illness, and then how do I tell a story that's interesting to someone other than just me wanting to write about this like weird sick person. So they're in this secondary world where they used to have these realm ships that traveled to one of, I think I'm like, how many realms are there? Arlo, I believe there's 11. And yeah, they used to have these magical like airships that could go between these realms, and they've lost that magic for thousands of years, and nobody really remembers why they lost it. But now you have the Selkie, and there's a race of people who live in the woods called the Huldra, and they're also from Scandinavian folklore. And these two cultures really don't like each other, but they have to work together to keep people on these realm ships. Even if the realm ships don't travel outside of the realms anymore, they still protect the world from things that come through the barrier between worlds, because there's still this like magical barrier situation. And so they compete in this tournament called the Dusk Trials, and craziness ensues, possibly a love story. And yeah, it's going to be a trilogy. The first one is out in May. I'm doing such a bad job pitching it. I'm like, what is this book about? It's really it's really about a young woman who has built her entire identity on this one thing, and watching who she becomes and what her life turns into when that single focus of her existence gets taken away.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that was a great pitch.
Yeah.
I'm slowly learning how to pitch, but it's been so fun. It's been so fun to write. I based one of the settings off of the Grand Tetons, and getting to go to the Tetons was absolutely amazing. That is such a beautiful place.
Where is that?
Oh my goodness, the Tetons are like Wyoming and Idaho, I believe. They're very
I see
beautiful.
the mountain range. Okay.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Yeah, so imagine that mountain range, those big tall spires, and then imagine that it's this machine god from some other realm, and it can get up and walk away when it wants to. That's the vibe.
That's awesome.
The kind of steampunk, kind of gas lamp fantasy. Definitely a love story hidden in there.
Who doesn't love a good love story?
Yeah. So it's been incredibly fun, and I'm working with an incredible team at Quills and Cosmos. So it is just such a joy to be able to work on something like that.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The Ice Moves for No One, May 2025, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Next one that looks pretty sick. Stories That Need to Be Told, 2023.
Yeah, so that was my intro into working as a professional author. It's a contest run every year by Tulip Tree Publishing, the Stories That Need to Be Told contest. And you enter, and the grand prize is money and a subscription to Duotrope. And I had originally written a novel-length piece about the fire that I was talking about earlier. And I looked at the requirements for this contest, and I thought, I should really write something about the fire. And so I took this novel length thing and I cut it down to a short story. I think it's about 7,000 words. and submitted it, and it won the grand prize. And
Wow.
that was kind of like my very first, thank you. That was my very first moment of thinking like, oh my God, like maybe I can actually like do this. Maybe I can move forward with my career. And I used the money for my like first pass editor for Black Rose, and I went to all the locations in Black Rose in Nevada, and it helped with that. And then just setting up things like a website. And I used Duotrope to find publishing opportunities. And I don't know, I feel like that was the moment where I got so many, like the ball actually started rolling, and I started building momentum and gained skills. And I even just like the confidence of being like somebody, like somebody liked something that I did. Like,
Yeah.
it's just really cool. And I'm just trying to keep that momentum going and just not look back. Like I have to keep telling myself that I got to lose the phrase like aspiring writer. I've got to throw that in the trash. Like I'm a writer, I'm an author. I've got to stop using that like self-depreciating language.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, where it's like, as a writer, you're always gonna have that like imposter syndrome where you think like you're either not good enough or you haven't done enough like to be considered a professional or whatever.
Yeah.
So how long have you been writing? Sorry.
God, I've been writing. I've been writing since before I could like read meaningfully. So that's some of the deep Arlo Z lore is I couldn't really read until I was about 16, just really garbage bad at reading. And I definitely was writing stories sort of by hand on lined paper. Before that, I don't think they're comprehensible. I think they're just gibberish, but I really wanted to tell stories. I don't know, who knows? Like when I was like junior high, probably writing like Neopets fan fiction or something like that. And then like I think like one of the first things that I was really excited about was that terrible 20-page Van Helsing tombstone /fic that became Black Rose. But then somehow I ended up going to college for creative writing, and I had really hoped that I could start my career sooner after college, but you know, things take time, and the sort of the balancing out, learning how to be a writer and how to write and how to better my craft as I go, balanced with I had no idea how to pitch or who to pitch to. I had no idea how to get any sort of publishing opportunity. So a defining moment for me was meeting a writer named Lillian Cernica in a Safeway parking lot. She commented on the coat I was wearing, and then was like, she's told me, hey, you look like you're in a fantasy book. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm an aspiring fantasy writer. And she was like, no way, I'm a fantasy writer. Like, what? Anyway, long story short, she's one of my best friends now, and we have long conversations over tea and coffee, and she helped, like, literally just like held my hand and helped me learn how to pitch, how to do like developmental edits, just like so many aspects of being a writer, and then joining writing communities, like just things that I had no idea how to do for myself. So
that's incredible.
Absolutely, she's just such a nice person.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, so united over a weird coat. Shout out to KO Anime Clothing. She's the designer of that coat. It's very cool.
We gotta see this coat. You gotta send that to me so I can put
it.
All right, I gotta remember that. Send the coat. I'm gonna write that down.
Okay, you mentioned something that I've been noticing that people have been talking about, because Angel and I met through Forbidden Origins, which we found on TikTok, and it was like a almost like a casting call for writers, right, from Forbidden Origins to help them flesh out their universe. And we contributed to a book called Echoes of the Old Universe. It's also an anthology book, but it's set within this setting. And you mentioned writing communities. What kind of communities would you be talking about, like Reddit or Facebook or Instagram or something, or like Discord? Because I keep hearing this from the people that we talk to, writing communities, and I never really thought about that being a thing until like now, you know.
Yeah, so I think there's different, at least for me, and I can only speak from my own experience. There's more than one. I don't know if you'd call them. I guess I would call them multiple communities. Like I sort of had the community from college, which I have a couple of professors who are absolutely wonderful, but it's not the same thing. We're gonna leave that on the shelf. Through Lillian, I met other people working as professional writers, either full-time or part-time, and actually got to meet them in person. I went to a convention and we all had dinner together, and now we like email each other. So there's like these are like real life people. I mean, not that people on social media aren't real life, oh my god, but like people who I have met in the real world. And then I've actually like ended up in like a Discord community from one of my publishing houses, and that's been a really neat experience, and met people through them. And then we talk a lot on threads. I'm slowly starting to meet people and talk to people more through Instagram. Instagram really, I don't know how to. I'm not very versed on Instagram. I don't really know how to do it like a professional. I'm slowly getting a little bit of traction, but we definitely like I'll message with people. But I would say if I had to like really put a pin in like what is the writing community to me and what does it look like, it's seeing the books of my peers and reading them and realizing that I'm falling in love with these stories that people are telling that I might not have found otherwise, and being able to reach directly out to those people and be like, hey, your book is so cool. It's exactly what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. I think like that's definitely a big component of the community for me.
Okay. I didn't realize how wide this actually was until our first guest, like 4 or 5 episodes ago, Angel?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it reminds me of like The Walking Dead, where like your world's about to get bigger, and it really does feel like it.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
yeah, and I'm kind of like I'm more on the inept side of social media, so I feel like I'm just starting to figure out like threads, and the more I learn and the more I just like talk to people, the broader the community becomes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's been like I had an experience that it's totally new to me. I've had people be like, hey, I bet you'd like my book or my story, and I gave it a try, and I'm like, oh hey, I actually really do like your book or story. That's like exactly the vibe I was looking for. So that's been really neat.
No,
sick. I feel like Threads is one of the best social medias right now to like foster a community, just because I feel like there's not as much people on there, so you don't get as many like I don't want to say like bad people, but more like just mean people or rude people in general.
Yeah, you definitely run into a few special cookies, but it's
yeah
no, it's good. Like I really enjoy it. I know there's a lot of people have moved to Blue Sky, and I do have a Blue Sky. I like physically can't look at Blue Sky. It hurts my brain. It's hard to read. I'm holding out some hope for its future. But right now I'm like, oh man, I can't look at it. It's killing me.
I've never even seen it, but I hate Twitter. I've never been a Twitter user, and I kind of tried to get into it in like 2020, 2021, and it was just not for me. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I've never done Twitter. I had an account that I opened on my computer specifically to check my local Cal Fire to see if something was on fire, because we had underground fire. Like it was straight out of Silent Hill. The fire was underground. It would come out from under the ground. It was a whole thing. Like definitely a horror movie fuel right there.
Yeah.
I would check Twitter just to see Cal Fire. But other than that, I never had a Twitter, and I deleted my Facebook because Facebook was just, it was very bad for my emotional health.
Same.
I never used Facebook.
Well, Angel, you're lucky.
That was a bit before my time.
You're not missing anything.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Allegedly.
Yeah, I would only go on there to like harvest memes, but that was about it. After basically the last couple years.
Yeah.
So here's a question that I've been wanting to ask. Why steampunk? Like, why? Would you say gas punk or gaslight?
Gas lamp.
Gas lamp. Yeah. Why those genres? Why those genres? What drew you to that?
That is an interesting question with an answer that I'm going to try to not let spiral out of control.
Oh, go ahead.
But
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, spiral out of control all you want.
I'm obsessed with this concept of animism. This
Okay.
idea that objects can acquire life or sentience or soul or some kind of value beyond just being a like a chunk of wood or metal or whatever, like in a fantasy sense, not like in the real world necessarily,
Yeah.
Right,
but
right.
like in a fantasy setting. I'm obsessed with this idea about if you give enough of yourself to something, what does it take, or what can it take? Like, or if we lived in a world different than this one and we had a different relationship with machines, what would that look like? So I don't know if my worlds are like necessarily like exactly steampunk, because I'm not really building off of steam technology specifically, but there's in both of my big projects right now, in Black Rose and the Ice Moves for No One, they're very much in worlds where machines, to one extent or another, depending on the world, have some kind of life. And so like in Black Rose, it goes all the way to the extreme of the guns talk. Cowboy talks to guns, the guns talk back. Ridiculous. Love it. very
awesome.
silly, but also sad. And then in the Ice Moves for No One, you don't see a ton of it in the first book, but as we move through the story, they just have their world is in a lot of conflict in a lot of different directions, and one of those directions is that their world was built by a visiting god who's totally based on the Teton Mountains, who's this giant machine. And so this world where they consider machines to be like, just machines, we can throw them away. It was built by this machine god. And I don't know, I like to get into those questions of like, is it nature versus construct, or can construct be nature? And it all just boils down to the concept of animism. I was basically scarred by talking object films when I was young. I'm thinking like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And then I was very moved by, oh my God, I'm going to get all the details of this wrong. Forgive me. There was some kind of a robotic dog in Japan, and a lot of people had these robotic dogs, and I guess the company stopped supporting repairs for these robots, and so they eventually died, and there was a mass funeral for them because they believed that because they were loved, they had souls that needed to be mourned. I don't know if they use the word soul or not, but they had some essence that deserved to be mourned. And I think I was just like way too caught up in that idea.
No, I
So
think
like,
that's like a beautiful concept.
yeah, so I don't think it's like, I guess it's steampunk. We can call it steampunk for the sake of ease. There's no reason to call it anything but steampunk. But I think my entry point is that, I don't know, like I'm really into the empathy that you can have towards objects. Like I'm definitely the person who's like, my phone is on its way out and I'm like, oh no, she's gonna die soon, time to replace her. And I'm like, oh no, but I can't tell her that because she'll be so sad that she's getting replaced. I'm like, oh my God, it's a phone, like calm down. So maybe just like too much empathy for machines. But yes, just stay tuned to, I think sometime next year, and you might see a Selkie girl have an emotional bond with a dirigible. So there's that.
Okay. Have you ever watched the Animatrix?
Oh my God, so long ago.
Yeah, it gives
Yes,
me.
it was.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I cut you off. I'm sorry. Sometimes we both have ADHD, my host and I, and our other host, that sometimes we speak before we think. So sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Continue your thought.
Oh no worries. I am extremely bad at following conversation cues, especially when I can't see people. So pour one out for me.
No,
I've seen
I get that.
I've seen the Animatrix. It's been a very long time.
Well, I only bring it up because the Animatrix is basically, I know you probably know this, but just for Angel to get caught up with, the Animatrix is kind of like it's a series of animated anime stories set in the world of the Matrix, and there was one talking about it's like a prequel talking about the human machine war that happened before the Matrix movies, and basically the whole idea was that there was a machine that developed feelings. It developed emotions, and it was basically a slave in the house. And yeah, that's actually the one. Yeah, Angel, the one you just put up, that's really the one I'm talking about. And
oh wow,
the robot, he didn't want to be a house slave anymore, and he killed his owner. And he was put on trial, and a machine revolution started, and that's basically what happened. The machines developed feelings, and yeah, it was pretty insane. The war got crazy and humans lost. Blah blah blah. We got the Matrix. But when you were talking to us about that, that's kind of that's the idea that I got. I'm not too literally, but that's just the connection that I made. By the way,
yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, whatever kind of storytelling that is, like, I'm just really into it. I love those conversations between humans, objects, machines, nature versus construct, all that stuff.
So does the revolver know that it's killing people?
Yes.
How does it feel about that?
It depends.
Ah, okay.
I don't know how much to ruin about the revolver, or the story.
If you don't want to get too into it, that's fine. But if it's conflicted, you know.
There's a twist. And there's more than one revolver with or more than one firearm with sentience. The Black Rose is just the most cursed. Because in this universe, there's the Silver is this angry entity that lives under the ground and comes out of the mines and infects people with this weird disease. It's just more or less a terror that was awoken by mining and doing terrible things to the land. It's kind of this revenge element, I guess you could call it. And the Black Rose is special in the story because she can pull the silver right out of the ground and shoot it at people.
Oh shit.
And so it's basically a gun shooting magic missile.
Uh-huh.
And yes, she's completely aware that she's shooting people, that she or things, not necessarily people, but shooting things, people and things. She's very aware, and I will say that she's picky about it.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the game High on Life?
I have not.
I don't know if you play video games, but there's the character that you play, he has like a talking gun that like same
I
thing
love that.
will react. Yeah, he will like react to like who you're shooting at or what you're doing, and he'll be like,
Oh
"Why
my
are you shooting at that guy? He didn't do anything."
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so the Black Rose, the cursed bunt line. It's I'm calling it an it. She's a she. She's cursed enough and powerful enough that you're not just gonna like shoot. You're not gonna shoot someone with her, but if you're holding her, she might shoot someone potentially on your behalf. But you're not like you specifically, but like a character couldn't just take her out and shoot someone that they want to shoot because she's not going to work. She's like, I mean, she can't like get up and walk away on her own, but she just won't function.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
But if she wants to shoot someone, she'll shoot someone.
Okay, yeah, there's a video game called Cyberpunk 2077, and there's kind of the same concept. You find this pistol, I think it's called Clippy, kind of like the Clippy thing for Microsoft or something like that. Yeah, and there's two modes, lethal and non-lethal, and I think it's switched where if you choose one, it'll after a while it'll start doing the other. Oh
my goodness.
And it'll even start like humming, I think Rihanna, it'll go dun dun dee dun dun.
Bum bum be dum bum bum.
What are you doing?
I'm making the wait more pleasant with a soothing melody.
Done. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh my god, I obviously need to play more video games. This is Cyberpunk?
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. Look up like I think it's the talking. Just look up the talking pistol on YouTube, Cyberpunk, and you'll get it. 'Cause
Okay.
I forgot what its exact name is. I'll put it in the edit. You'll see. But
Oh, that's awesome. I would love that. I would love that. I'd eat that up.
yeah, honestly too, like in terms of gaming, that's probably your better avenue for getting really good stories at this point. It's just there's so many good movie level stories in gaming right now. So yeah.
Any other suggestions? We just, my partner and I just got into video games last
Oh,
year.
What do you
I
guys
know,
have?
We have like as far as the system,
System, PC, yeah.
we have an Xbox, and our entry point was Baldur's Gate.
That's a good one.
Ooh, I feel like that's a heavy start. Like that's a.
It is,
We're
but
still
it's good.
we're still playing it. We have done so many playthroughs.
Okay, so I can actually give you a real quick list of stuff for the Xbox. How are you with
Hold
gore?
on, let me give her one first.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
That I think you would like, especially because of Black Rose. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes.
One of the best games I've ever played.
The Western.
I'm writing these down, by the way.
Okay, good. All right, no, go ahead with your list.
Okay, yeah, like I said, how are you with like, I guess gore?
I'm fine.
Okay, Gears of War. If you get the Xbox Game Pass, you'll be able to get these basically for free. It's like $20 a month.
Okay.
Gears of War, the trilogy, 4 and 5. Play them all. They're so good, movie level. Cyberpunk 2077, that might be on the Game Pass, it might not. You have to check. Sometimes it's on there, sometimes it's not. The Witcher 3, you don't need to play 1 and 2. You can if you want, but I don't even know if they're on the Xbox right now. But with The Witcher 3 will definitely be on there. What else? If the other, once again, if you get the Xbox Pass, the Master Chief Collection, Halo is such a good franchise. What else? Doom, 2016 and Eternal. Those are pretty good. Not really story games, but there is lore there. You're just beating the shit out of demons. That's what you're doing.
I love that.
Yeah, what else? Crap. Elden Ring is pretty good. It's hard.
Oh my god, greatest game ever.
It's hard, but it's fun. Once you kill your first boss, that's it. You get hooked. Okay?
Yeah, it's like a drug. Like you kill the first boss and you're like, oh,
Ooh.
I got.
Yeah.
Oh, you're selling it. This sounds great.
You definitely need to watch some like build videos to figure out how to get started.
Okay.
Yeah, some guides. What else? If you like science fiction, like giant mechs, Armored Core 6 is pretty good. It's made by the same people who made Elden Ring, but it's a little more it's more of an easier entry point into From Software games. It's still kind of hard, but you know, once you get your footing, you'll get there. You'll be fine. What else? Andrew, you got anything else? I'm sure I'm missing something.
Well, there's like infinite good games with good storylines.
This is an awesome list. Yeah, we were just, I don't know, I saw like advertising for Baldur's Gate and I'm like, we should try this. And that was the entry point. It was the learning curve of learning how to use the controllers was so hilarious in my case. I was like, how do?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be even harder if you do like a what do you call it? Like a third-person game or even a first-person game, because the controls are just so much different than like, because Baldur's Gate is like what, top-down almost?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the combat is turn-based.
Oh yeah, if you played Elden Ring, you're gonna have a hard time.
I'm gonna get slaughtered.
You will, but you just gotta bounce back. You'll be fine. A lot, even
That's
if you
part
have
of
to
the fun.
start, even if you have to start new playthroughs, you get frustrated. Like you get like you and that's what I do with Elden Ring. I had to do like 4 or 5 playthroughs before I got my footing. So you're fine. Yeah, gaming, it's one of those things where it's just like take a break. You get frustrated, take a break, come back to it. Even if it's like a month later, come back to it. You'll see like a new angle in the puzzle that you've been trying to work on in the game, you know? So.
All right. Well, I love that. Thank you so much for the list. I will get some games.
I have one more for you.
Actually, I have some more too.
Right.
Go ahead, Angel.
Well, you said you play with your partner. You guys should play It Takes Two. That one is also on the Xbox Game Pass, and it's like a multiplayer where you have to work together to like solve puzzles and beat like enemies and stuff. Really good.
Fun.
Actually,
I love this. Thank you.
Let me bring up the Game Pass right now. I have it for PC too. Game Pass. Avowed came out. That one's pretty cool too. That one's fantasy. Let's see.
Oh, you should not have got us started on gaming. This is like one of our favorite topics.
No, it's great. It's like I'm just like I don't like way back in the day I played. Oh my god, don't judge me. I played Fable 2, and I had
get it.
fun. I had a lot of fun playing that, and then oh, this is even worse. My home gaming systems, all I really played was Dance Dance Revolution. Like I'm a terror
awesome.
at that game. I am a terror. But then I just never played like games. Is that what you? I don't know what you call them. Like games with story. I just never really got into
Like
it. And then we
story games,
started with Baldur's Gate, and we're like, oh, this is a whole untapped form of media and storytelling. That I mean, not untapped by most people, but like untapped by me.
For you, yeah.
Yeah, like this is so cool.
I got a couple more. I don't know if it's on the Game Pass, but the BioShock Remastered Collection. That one's pretty good. That's,
I think it is actually.
Okay, if it is on there, that's definitely something you need to get onto. It's steampunk,
Ooh,
but underwater. It's an underwater city you're fighting through.
ooh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. What else? Oh, Fallout. Fallout 4. That's a good entry point too. It's post-apocalyptic, but with a 50s 60s aesthetic.
Rad.
So, yeah, so it's like it's weird, right? So in this universe, I don't know if you know how much you know about Fallout. I don't want to assume. Do you know anything about Fallout?
Let's just say nothing. I know like a teeny weeny little bit.
Okay, so basically, the timeline divergence is in the 1940s, right? So in this universe, everything is like futuristic. Like there's plasma weapons, but it's got like a 1940s 50s like aesthetic to it. It's like it was time.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Once you start playing it, you'll start seeing what I mean. There's like there's a radio in that game you can play while you're walking around, and it's music from the 40s and 50s. It's pretty sick.
Oh, that's so fun.
It's
That's
a
so
vibe.
fun.
Yeah, there's mutants, there's monsters, there's raiders. It's pretty sick. So that's also
That sounds
pretty good one.
awesome.
Yeah. Shit. Anything else here? Indiana Jones is pretty good too. The new game just came out, the Great Circle. I played through that one. That one's really good. Angel, anything else?
No, I was looking right now. I'm not seeing anything else.
I have a massive list. This is so
Yeah,
good.
I also don't want to overwhelm you with too much stuff.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, that's fine. I got my little piece of paper. I've got them all written down.
Starfield too. That's a good one.
I don't know why I'm like so drawn to Elden Ring. You're like, it's tough, and I'm like, ooh.
Oh yeah, that was okay. So that series of people call it like Souls games because the first one was Demon Souls or Dark Souls. Like they're known for being like extremely difficult, and people will argue and they're like, no, it's easy, but most people have like a hard time getting through it. But that's part of the fun, where it's like you go up against the same boss fight like 100 times, and then you finally get it, and then like that satisfying feeling afterwards is what makes the game so fun.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, my first introduction. Well, I had tried playing the Dark Souls series, but I would always get my ass kicked and I get pissed off. But
Yeah.
Elden Ring was it was my first time I really like sunk my teeth into the Dark Souls style games. And I remember my first boss, I killed him, and okay, so I used to play sports, and like you know how sometimes people in sports game when they like make a touchdown or they score a goal, they go ah! I remember I stood up, I went, ah! I was like ah, it's my house. So yeah, you'll definitely get that kind of reaction, and you'll get angry if you're gonna die to some bullshit, but you're gonna enjoy it, you know. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Also, with that game, explore, because it's the first of that series that's like open world, and there's just like so many hidden things, so many secrets that you can find. Talk to all the NPCs and listen to what they say.
Yes.
They'll give you like quest lines and stuff.
Oh, fun. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, the storyline in that game is kind of hidden almost. Like you have to read the descriptions of items to actually understand everything that's going on. So like anything that you pick up, you could look in your inventory and like read like a short little description. I would recommend you do that.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I agree. Don't forget, but like I said too, watch guides. You need to watch guides because it's not gonna really hold your hand.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it just throws you in.
I definitely require like hand holding at this stage in my video game exploration.
Yeah, there's a guy that I watch. He makes it pretty funny. His name's Jev, and he did an entire like playthrough of Elden Ring.
I'm killing this knight. Oh my god, he hits him!
And he's just half the time it's him just getting super angry. But he's having a good time because he's figuring it out. But he also, if you watch what he's doing, that's a good way to get into the game to like understand what you're trying to do, you know? So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. There's different builds. You could do a strength build. You can do full magic. You could be a wizard, a knight, a samurai. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Angel, we could talk about this game forever.
Yeah.
Sorry to hijack your episode, but
I know we totally did. Oh my god.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I'm learning about new things that are going to be fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
But I definitely need downtime. I think I spend maybe too much time writing and then wrangling around on social media. I very much need other things to do besides like downtime. I need to let my brain kind of like relax.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then maybe don't play Elden Ring if you're trying to relax.
That makes me laugh. There's a meme actually where it's like, oh, I'm clocking out of the job I hate and I'm gonna go play a game that kicks my ass for
Yeah.
pleasure.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm gonna say this too. Doesn't matter what it happens mainly with single player games. Once you finish it, you're gonna be like, fuck, that was a journey. That was a journey. You're gonna sit there just staring at the screen like, now what? You know?
Oh yeah, the post-game depression is real.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because you're like, wow,
it's
so
like
many hours into this game and it's
exactly.
over.
It's like the only kind of depression I say is good, tentatively, you know. But once you get onto your next game, it's gonna go away, you know. So
Yeah.
like for example, I'm a PC player and a console player, and on my PC, I'm really into this game series called Total War. It's a strategy game where you build up your cities, you build up your armies, and you conquer other factions. And the most recent one, Total War Warhammer 3, I have a total of 483.5 hours on that game.
Oh my god.
And on the second one, I have 900.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
So that's my baby right there. I love that series. It gets my mind going. So yeah.
That's awesome.
No, gaming is definitely like a good outlet. Like you said, like if you need downtime, just play video games. I feel like it's really easy to decompress like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can set goals too.
Yeah.
So
well, back to writing.
Yeah, let's get back to writing.
Off that tangent of gaming. So you said you speak German. I was wondering if you ever write in German.
Ooh.
I have. It's not my greatest gift. I'm way better. So I mean, German's not my first language, and I learned it as an adult.
Oh, okay.
Basically, it's a rock band that sings in German, and I was like, I need to know what they're saying, and I just absolutely hyper focused and taught myself up to like intermediate German, and then took a German class, and then the professor let me do an advanced class, and I student taught, and then I went to Germany. I don't know. It just snowballed. But so it's not my it's not a language that I grew up with, and so I don't have the same anywhere near the kind of like control that like maybe not control, like mastery that a native speaker would have. I have written things in German, because they sound really simple. What I'd love to do, and I'm gonna let you know how old I am here. I used to do this on Tumblr. I would do adaptations of German language songs. So I'd do like as close to a direct translation as I could get, and again, like translation as a topic I could like go off on forever. I'm very much of the belief that you adapt, you bring as much of the feeling from one language into the other, but we don't really have direct. It's close. They can be really close, but I don't know if there's such a thing as like a direct translation. But that's a nerd topic. We don't need to go into that. That's like a.
No, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah. And maybe that's just my brain. I don't know. But like speaking English and German, and then I probably shouldn't say I speak Spanish. I do speak Spanish, but like I'm shy. I'm shy to speak it in front of people.
Oh,
But
okay,
like
gotcha.
with kind of three languages there, I'm like, yeah, it's more like we're adapting. We're not really oh man, I got lost in that sauce there. Where was I going with that? I would do
No,
something like
yeah,
as close to a direct translation as you can get, and then I would do an adaptation where I put it back into the lyricism. Maybe not like the original song, but put it into some kind of a lyrical form to emulate music or like the musicality of the original, and that was super fun. But I mean, again, Tumblr, that was so old I am.
right. No, I do that same thing because my first language is Spanish, and so there's like
Oh,
many
cool.
songs like in Spanish that I like or some in English, and then like sometimes like I'll just be in the car with my siblings, and then I'll start like singing a translated version that I made up, and it kind of pisses
Nice.
them off because they're like, "Why are you singing it in another language? Just sing the song."
Like,
I
do
think
do
it's
you
fun.
feel that though, or is it just like my brain thing? But like that, you can get really close to translation, but it's like there's something it's almost like you're adapting meaning from one language to the other. Am I just lost in the
Yeah,
sauce?
no, no, no. I totally agree. Where it's like you can kind of, like you said, emulate the feeling, but you're never gonna get a one-to-one translation of the meaning of it.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
I
Also,
noticed
was the
that.
band Rammstein? I think it's how you pronounce it.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
good
I
one.
kind of
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like Russian.
The song in question was Rise Rise. For some reason, it just haunted me, and I'm like, I need to know what that song is saying, but I need to know it. I need to know it. Like, I can't have someone tell me. I need to hear it, and I need to know. And I don't know
You need
why.
to
I just like I
comprehend it
got
yourself. Yeah.
yeah, like I will do this.
You know, I like what you were talking about, Angel, with the translation, because when I look at some songs from like that's originally in Spanish that's translated into English, I'm like, this doesn't sound right or look right.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
just doesn't capture that feeling.
Yeah. Same thing with what is it? Subs for like
Yeah.
primarily for like Spanish and sometimes even Japanese. I'm like, this I
Mm.
don't think this is what they're really saying. You know? Or like it's
Oh
not
Yeah.
accurate
yeah.
to what they're saying, you know? So
Oh yeah. I've definitely watched shows either in German or with a lot of German, and I'm watching and I'm like, or even like Spanish for that matter, and I'm like, that's not what they're saying. Like when it's got the
mhm,
subtitle, I'm like, that's not right.
mhm.
Yeah, no. Okay, that's what I like about the movie Shrek, cuz there's like, okay, yeah, this is like a small little tangent that I've had on my mind for a while, but um so you have Shrek in English, and it has like, its own script, its own jokes, whatever. And then when they got Eugenio Derbez to play Donkey for the Spanish dub, he was like, "This script is not good," and he said that he would do it on the condition that he could rewrite the script and add his own jokes in Spanish so that they would make sense to a Spanish audience.
Oh
So
my
you don't,
goodness.
yeah. So Shrek in Spanish is not the same movie. Well, it is the same like storyline, but a lot of the lines are like vastly different just so that they would actually make sense to like the sense of humor of someone who speaks Spanish.
Mhm.
Oh shit, I need to go watch this. This sounds I had no idea that existed. That sounds great.
Yeah, like one of the biggest points is like when they sing the Muffin Man when they cut off the gingerbread man's feet or
Yeah.
whatever. They change it to like a nursery rhyme in Spanish called Ping Pong, which I
Oh,
thought
that's
was really
cool.
Okay.
yeah.
Didn't that
That's
become
I
So
a
it's just little
love
things
that.
like that.
it became
Wait,
like a
what'd you say,
meme,
Noah?
right, Angel?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, right. Like the Spanish version wasn't the same or something, some shit like that. Like that became like a
Yeah,
meme
yeah,
online
yeah.
for a while, I think. So
Oh, that's so cool. I love it. See, you're introducing me to all of these media possibilities, all these things to go check out. I'm loving this.
Well, I'm glad.
I know, right? You learn some new things every day.
Yeah.
All right, Angel, we are coming up on 60 minutes.
Yep.
Want to close us out?
Any final thoughts or words, Arlo?
Oh my goodness. Well, now you've got me thinking about translation and adaptation and storytelling between languages. I will just spiral off into that topic. Oh my goodness.
Anything you want to
I don't
promote or
know.
something?
I guess I'd like to give a shout out to Graveside Press and Equals and Cosmos Press. They're both small presses. They're both absolutely killing it. I am so honored to be working with them. Y'all are awesome. And to freaking indie authors, like y'all are writing some really cool stuff. Like,
shout out indie authors for real.
oh man, they're killing it. I read a dark fantasy called The Growing Darkness. That's freaking amazing. Right now I'm reading Flystone Fly, and it is one of the strangest things I've ever read, and I love almost every single sentence. It's like, holy crap, this is so beautiful.
That's awesome. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and I guess to every person who has had someone in their life tell them to give up their writing dream, like, please don't. Like, we need all sorts of different stories in the world. So don't let people discourage you.
Yep, well said.
That's good. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe if you liked. Check out Arlo Graves. We'll have their links in the description. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see all you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Peace out.